In spite of the appreciation you get from critics and the large following you have, maybe you guys aren't being taken as seriously as you should be. What he's saying, like for example, a Sting or a Bruce Springsteen, whenever they comment, like carries a lot of weight in certain circles.
Yeah.
Whereas if,
yeah, their own.
Still, the oft-quoted Springsteen and the oft-quoted Sting, you might say. Whereas maybe you guys aren't taken as seriously as you should be.
Well, I don't know. We're taken seriously by the people that like our music. You know, we don't sit. That's. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. You know, that's those guys have set themselves up and have been set up to be that particular kind of personality, and that's what they go for. That's their, you know, they play up on that. And
spokesman for a generation.
Sure, you know, and I think it's as much self-styled as it is outside. You know, I mean, I don't put them down, but that's their thing.
Yeah.
We, like I said, we affect our audience just as profoundly in our own way as they affect theirs. I hope.
Well, also there's no really overtly political material in here.
We talk about life in our songs usually, and that's politics too. That's personal politics, but it's just as important. You know, what happens to people in their personal lives is just as an important part of the musical experience as talking about amnesty, whatever. You know.
No, Bruce Springsteen isn't overtly political either.
No.
I don't think he's ever written a political song. You know, but
in his own way, he's kind of like us. He writes about a small experience, and people take that as their own, and they use
universalize
that.
It.
Yeah, they universalize it. You know,
it becomes like a
I mean, Born USA isn't about that's about you know, that's kind of a New Jersey the experience of coming home and all this stuff. You know, it is kind of a small experience, you know, that has larger implications. In our own way, that we do the same, you know. But something that happens to you is can affect things larger than yourself, you know. It's
and even though people may not get it from our music, we overtly are involved in a lot of things that have political ramifications and a lot of and social meaning through various benefits and through trying to put things back into the community where we live, especially in New York, you know, through the things we've done in our careers. And so, you know, you don't necessarily need to step on a soapbox to do, you know, and we don't really do that, but at the same time, we're very much involved in a lot of important issues.
And I thought you had a lot of guts doing the Sun City thing, because what really shocked me was that it totally went unappreciated.
Yeah.
When it first came out, I thought it was going to be a big blockbuster, but apparently it was even boycotted at a lot of stations.
It was.
People were afraid.
Well, yeah.
But you guys weren't.
Well,
no, we're not. We're not afraid to say what we think about things. You know, we're pretty involved in a lot of socio-political issues. I mean, we just did a benefit for a local thing near my house. Did a benefit concert about a month ago. We just did a thing for Greenpeace with Grateful Dead. We did a thing for the New York Police Athletic League in New York in June. So about once a month we've been doing a benefit. So we're anything but inactive.
We probably do more benefits than anyone
else. Yeah, I mean we're really out there doing stuff.
I guess your careers span about 20 years, professional careers. Has your outlook on the music, your attitude towards the music changed at all, or is it still basically the same that you were made?
I think we still make music for the same reasons.
Yeah.
I was saying before to somebody else, it's I think that if you look at our motivations, it's always to kind of look for sources of inspiration. I think that everything we do, we're always open to new ideas and to new ways of looking at things and to try and generate and regenerate things. You know, I think that's something that we started with, a feeling that's one of the reasons that made us make music, and that's never changed. Now, within that, we've changed completely. You know, we've gone, just as we've changed as people, from kids in Philadelphia to whatever it is we are now. I think that our experiences are reflected in the change in our music, and you know, we'd be dishonest if we weren't changing. But
the motivation.
I think the motivation's never changed.
And it never loses its allure, its appeal.
We're pretty much compelled people, and we do it because we have to do it.
Stop doing anything else. Nothing.
You know, it's a way of speaking. You know, it's I guess the reason anybody makes makes things with their hands or sings things, plays.
Whenever I think of you guys now, I have one lasting image in my mind. I said Live Aid when you guys were kind of holding down the band in the back there. It wasn't like you were trying to step out in front. You guys were kind of holding back you were backing up the other guys there.
Yeah, well,
that's the way I think of you guys.
That is a key to
the journeyman musician.
That's what we are. We're craftsmen, but we're also hopefully inspired people too. You know, that's
as comfortable in the shadows as you are in the limelight.
We just any form of making music is fun to us and fulfilling.
Do you think you're inhibited at all in knowing that millions of people are going to be listening to a song when it's first, when it's in the embryonic stages in your mind? I think it's going to be listened to by zillions and zillions of people.
No, not really. I mean, emotionally, there's certain parameters that you unfortunately can't exceed sometimes. There may be some times when you want to say something in a certain way that you might not be able to just because you don't want to say it that way, or you feel it might be, it just may not. I mean, it has to do with a little bit has to do with radio. The other part has to, because if you say something a certain way, it may not get played, it may not get heard. Therefore, what are you doing it for? And other times there's matters of taste and emotional feelings involved that you just may not want to expose that part of your personality, or you may want to say it, but you may have to change the way it's said in order to get it out.
It always surprises me when you make a record and you're kind of insulated, and you're all in this little hole and you're all making with your friends or whatever, making music, and you have all these ideas, and when you write the lyrics and you have certain kinds of expectations and you're trying to say certain things and you figure, okay, we really said that, and then you put it out to the world and it's received, and it's always a surprise, to the good or the bad. You never know what it's going to be, and sometimes it's received and people don't understand anything what you were saying. You go, wow, I thought that I was really making myself really clear. So it's always a surprise on how a piece of music is perceived by people in mass. It's totally unpredictable.
Yeah. So you almost have to throw caution to the wind when
you have to write for yourself. That's really it, right? Just you can't think, okay, the whole world's going to rally around this, because if you think that, they might not do it. It's really weird.
You may say something you think is really profoundly important to you, and you've really said it, and it may go completely unnoticed.
Yeah.
People might not even react to it.
No, it mean shit to them.
Does that happen at all?
Happens every album.
All the time, of course.
To the good or the bad. And sometimes you say something and you think, oh, well, this is just a little postcard to my girlfriend, and the whole world goes, oh my God, this is like, Yeah.
Like Sarah Smile.
Yeah. And and then you can go the other way, say something you really care about, and it just goes.
Is there one example that comes to mind?
Well, I can think of one. What's Going to Happen to Us on my solo album. I really cared about what I was saying on that. I really thought I hit something. I caught what I wanted to say, and it just was like, who cares?
It's one of the tragedies of living in the highlight.
Yeah.
It seemed to us that everything you've done so far has gone reasonably well. There haven't been any major disasters or accidents. How about personally though? You look back on anything over your careers and said, "Oh, why did I ever do that?"
Sure. We've whole albums that we've wondered why we did them. In the circumstances. Just various things. I can think of one. The Beauty and Backstreet album. I really can't even listen to that.
That's the worst record we ever made.
Yeah, I think the songs are stupid, and the circumstances we wrote them under were bad, and the place where we recorded them were bad. The people we worked with.
It's definitely a black sheep album.
Oh yeah.
The first time I heard you guys imitate Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, that was just a fuck up.
Yeah.
The whole album was just
a
fuck up of place, time, emotion, personalities, and everything. And that's what happens. Occasionally that happens. We've had our ups and downs. We've had our very high points in our career, and we've had times that the public has perceived to be low points. But even those low points for us were a lot of times were periods of rebuilding and kind of regathering our forces to get to the next place. So actually, if you really look at it, it's always been a constant positive. It's really been pretty positive the whole time.
Well, you talk about the album as a dog, but actually, to tell you the truth, I kind of like about half the cuts on it.
Well, that's a reflection of you.
There you go.
That was right before your David Foster period there. I guess that
Yeah.
has a lot to do with shifting.
Well,
the
it
gear.
shifted, shifting producers and things like that. It had a lot to do with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess you're
Okay, thanks. Overtly political either. I
No.
don't think he's ever written a political song. But
In his own way, he's kind of like us. He writes about a small experience, and people take that as their own, and they use
Universalize
that.
it.
Yeah, they universalize it.
It becomes like a
I mean, Born USA isn't about that's about that's kind of a New Jersey.
Off-quoted Springsteen and the off-quoted Sting, you might say. Whereas maybe you guys aren't taking it seriously as you should be.
Well, I don't know. We're taken seriously by the people that like our music. We don't sit. That's. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. That's those guys have set themselves up and have been set up to be that particular kind of personality, and that's what they go for. That's their.
Yeah.
They play up on that. And
Spokesman for a generation.
sure, and I think it's as much self-styled as it is outside. I mean, I don't put them down, but that's their thing.
Yeah.
We, like I said, we affect our audience just as profoundly in our own way as they affect theirs. I hope.
Well, also there's no really overtly political material in your.
We talk about life in our songs usually, and that's politics too. That's personal politics, but it's just as important. What happens to people in their personal lives is just as an important part of the musical experience as talking about amnesty, whatever.
No, Bruce Springsteen isn't.
In spite of the appreciation you get from critics and the large following you have, maybe you guys aren't being taken as seriously as you should be, is what he's saying. Like, for example, a Sting or a Bruce Springsteen, whenever they comment, carries a lot of weight in certain circles.
Yeah.
Whereas if,
Yeah, their own.
Still, the